Hello, my name is Juan Barros. I'm a master's student at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil. I conduct research on artificial intelligence technologies applied to law. It wouldn't be interesting if it were possible to enter a legal query, such as a question concerning the Brazilian nationality, in a search site, and in addition to returning a list of pages, also a logical answer based on the articles of the law governing this matter. In recent years, Brazil has received more than 1 million immigrants and refugees from countries such as Venezuela and Haiti. Once entering Brazil, foreigners are screened and elucidated about their rights and duties. In the meantime, immigrants may have new questions during their stay as regarding the nationality of a child born in Brazilian territory. In addition, it is possible to spot by a brief search on search engines for the terms Brazilian nationality several questions related to the subject in legal forums and blogs. Thus, it would be highly relevant if it were possible for the citizen to obtain legal information easily and quickly, automatically, by computational systems. Thus, in the core of applications that answer questions in natural language, there are computational ontologies. This technology allows the development of inferences through computer model knowledge and intelligent information processing. To present a solution to the related problems, we sought to develop a computational legal ontology that would allow the reasoning to present a logical result and an explanation of the reason for the answer, as well as the legislation that supports the assertion with the use of semantic web technologies. Thus, it was defined as the user's need to receive information about any hypothetical citizen having the right to Brazilian nationality, and also inform the article of the Federal Constitution that supports the answer. Next, I will present concepts related to law in order to get more familiar about the legal precepts that govern the right to Brazilian nationality. The Brazilian Federal Constitution provides in a single article the major cases of granting the right to nationality and is extremely exhaustive in its provisions. Item 1 deals with cases of natural Brazilian nationality. In Item 1, in point A, it is informed that all Brazilians born in Brazilian territory are born natives, regardless of their parents' nationality. In point B, it is settled that people born outside Brazil can also have the right to Brazilian nationality. However, this case is only allowed for the children of parents who are working for the country, as a consul, for example. In Item C, it is settled that all children of Brazilians born abroad have the right to request the Brazilian nationality. The difference between points B and C is that in B, the right is automatically guaranteed. In point C, formal registration and requisition are required. Item 2 deals with naturalization cases. Paragraph A of this item informs that people from Portuguese-speaking countries need only 1 year of residence in Brazil. Point B, in turn, informs that foreigners from other nationalities need at least 15 years of residence in the country. We developed the research in such a way that it can be reproduced or expanded by law students. For example, researchers who do not hold prior technical knowledge in the area of information technology, as formal logic, programming techniques, or computational modeling. Thus, we use the simplified methodology based on the work of Chungora. This methodology is intended to be accessible to beginners, which is composed of the following phases: definition of objectives and scope, knowledge capture and elucidation, initial structure, formalization, deployment, and evaluation. In addition, we track the management of ontology requirements as well as the terms discovered through spreadsheets. Here's the goal I had previously defined. Initially, the scope of the project was not so limited to the classes and attributes needed to answer the questions raised, as there was an interest in developing ontology that could be used in other contexts in the future. However, it was noticed that the ontology would grow in size drastically if this limit were not posed, and it would not be possible to develop it in the proposed time. Thus, the main topics of the law were highlighted, and various mind maps were also used to assist in the elucidation of knowledge. This material proved to be of great value, because mind maps present knowledge model using the most important terms and related items by means of arrows. The ontology development process was iterative, requiring the construction of several models until reaching the ideal. On this slide, some versions of the ontology were presented before the final version. On this slide, the final version of the ontology diagram is presented. Here, it is possible to observe that each case of granting the right to Brazilian nationality was modeled as a class. Each class is inherited by the type of nationality to which it belongs. Also, there are some classes that are not found directly in the text of law. However, they are known by doctrine books. For example, jus solis, which represents the concept of nationality law, allusive to the birth of the individual according to where he was physically born, in this case the Brazilian territory. Also included was the class jus sanguinis, which says respect for the principle of law, granting nationality according to nationality of the citizen's parents, as a subclass of the class Brazilian nationalized. Thus, the Federal Constitution describes ways of obtaining nationality. A class was created for each one of them, which are at the bottom of the branch. The ontology was structured aiming at the creation of individuals who represent the data entered by the user in their question. These individuals inserted in ontology would be automatically classified by the reasoners as belonging to one of the classes representing nationality, if the reported properties are enough to be classified as such. If the properties are not sufficient, the reasoner would not classify it in any class. Each of the subclasses created contains rules written using Protege's class expression editor. Thus, it was necessary to extract from the text of law all possible variables to be used in cases of inference of nationality. Therefore, we model some individuals who represent questions from users of the ontology with the corresponding property values. Also included were the properties of Brazilian mother, Brazilian father, mother service, and father service, because they provide important information to infer the only case of exception to the jus solis principle in the Federal Constitution, namely, the case of a person born in Brazilian territory to a foreign father and mother, both, and father and mother both, in the service of their country, for example, an ambassador. The first attempt was to model the general rule and exception for the class expression editor. However, the reasoner could not work with the exception because of the open-rolled assumption. Open-rolled assumption is a semantic web principle that assumes that what is not modeled in ontology is simply null. Thus, it is not possible for the reasoner to make inferences about exceptions, because exceptions can be many things if each one is not modeled. Finally, to facilitate the creation of the logical expression, it was created a truth table that includes all the variables involved and their possibilities of values, true or false. In this way, 5 variables are analyzed, being the variable born necessarily true, in case of jus solis were true. So it was written 16 logics, including the case of the exception. This slide presents the simplest case of Brazilian nationality, the birth situation in Brazil. Here is presented first the case of birth abroad, the son of a Brazilian father at the service of Brazil. In the second item, the case of the son of a Brazilian registered abroad is presented. So, an ontology has been developed that models the nationality section of the Federal Constitution of Brazil in order to provide the realization of inferences of individuals representing a case of a person in relation to the possibility of this person is Brazilian or not, as well as inferring whether nationality would be Brazilian or naturalized, in addition to inform the article supporting the inference. In this way, the ontology can be used to solve doubts related to Brazilian nationality of an individual.